Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Foreign Ministry here in Jerusalem. First, let me say that since the new government of Israel 3 months ago started its tenure, we have been waiting the response of the Palestinians to our call to sit with us directly and without preconditions. This call has been made publicly, has been forwarded to the Palestinians, and it was made in a very, very concrete way by both Prime Minister Netanyahu and Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman. Unfortunately, so far, we have not gotten any response from the Palestinians. We would like them to move forward, irrespective of outstanding issues, but we would like to sit with them in order to solve many of the issues. And again, irrespective of that, we are moving forward on the other two tracks that Israel believes are major pillars to establish peaceful coexistence and hopefully peaceful relations and a treaty with the Palestinians. If we talk about the political pillar, which is of course very important to us, there are two others. Capacity building, which is going on, and we support and applaud, of course, the good work of General Dayton, of UPOL CAPS from the Europeans, and anyone who can help to build capacity for the Palestinians to be able to govern themselves in a responsible way, to do away with terror, and to create, if we do want to create here another entity, another independent, sovereign one, the last thing we need is a terror state or a failed state. So this capacity building is continued with the help and facilitation of the Israeli government. And then there is the third pillar, or the third area, which is the economic one. This government also believes that, with all due respect to conferences, to press events, and to high-level dialogues, if people on the ground do not feel the change in their lives, whether it's economic, whether it's social, whether it's cultural, security, of course, on Israeli part, then all the talks are not worth too much. So in order also to have a bottom-up approach and to really change the situation on the ground, Israel has taken major steps to help spur Palestinian West Bank economy. And despite, and I emphasize, despite risk involved to Israelis, we are taking this risk in order to really have a major change on the ground. And indeed, in the last 2 years, but basically in the last 3 months, we have removed 2/3 of the checkpoints. 2/3 of the checkpoints out of 41, only 14 remain in operation, and all of them now working on a normally open basis, that is, they're open 24 hours in order to allow much more efficiency. There are also not only a quantitative improvement, but also a qualitative one, by which all checkpoints surrounding major cities in the West Bank are now removed. If we add to this the Prime Minister's approval from this morning to expand international crossings for 24 hours for Palestinian goods, we begin to see a critical mass which we believe has been and will continue to make a marked improvement in the Palestinian economy. We also have doubled or allowed a doubling of traffic movement in Sha'ar Ephraim. And over the last year, the truckload transfers went from 110 to 220, just doubled on a daily basis. And we also, in terms of permits to Palestinian businessmen, we have made a major change there where many thousands of them can come, and many overnight permits as well. I would say that the aggregate impact of all these steps, as we can see right now, already has some effect on the ground, real improvements. The growth that we see in the Palestinian economy in 2008, just over last year, according to the World Bank, is 8%. According to the forecast of the World Bank, we have 8% for the next 2 years growth for the Palestinians. Decreasing unemployment we see in the West Bank. We see 7% real increase in tax revenue for the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. We see a 20% increase in VAT revenue, out of which, and this is very significant, out of which 45% only in the last quarter. So the first quarter of 2009, this last quarter, the VAT collection of the Palestinian Authority went up by 45% over the first quarter of last year. We tripled, we see a triple amount of tourists in the West Bank, 1.2 million this year, 75% hotel capacity. We see that the West Bank imports doubled in the last year. We see 14% increase in private bank deposits, 24% increase in Palestinian workers in Israel. Now 75,000 of them work in Israel. And we see also a construction boom. People tell me that the new mall in Jenin is a very modern and great one. Ramallah, Hebron are also cities which it is enjoyable to visit over there. We also take note with satisfaction that both the Quartet and also the United States welcome these steps. And as I mentioned, the impact of this critical mass, which is being amassed over and directed to the West Bank, already made a major change for the Palestinian lives in the West Bank, and we believe this will continue. We want to help the Palestinians also with long-term project, and today the special ministerial committee headed by Prime Minister Netanyahu met to discuss specific projects to work and to really expedite anything that we can from our side. And near as I can tell, any bureaucratic or any blocks are not coming from us, but from the Palestinian Authority, so we call upon them, irrespective of political differences, to come and meet and sit and work on the ground as well as on the political level. Also, I would like to reiterate the call of the United States to the Arab countries to put their shares as well. They keep talking about their interest to bring about a settlement here, peace here, to solve the conflict. They can do a lot by investing in the West Bank in a major, major way. And there is no more this pretext of not having a conducive environment for investments. What I have detailed now, and you will hear in even far more detailed way what we have been doing and allowing access and movement, notwithstanding the risk, will allow also foreign investments to come in and create as many jobs as possible for the Palestinians. Most of the money today, most of the cash today, we can find in Gulf countries, in Saudis, and in relation, it's with contrast, with sharp contrast to the economic situations in Europe, in the United States and others. This money is available, and it's just a matter of political will to do it. So far, we have not seen a cent being invested there, and we call upon the Arab countries to do it, to put their share, and we will continue to help and facilitate, and we want to change the situation continuously from the bottom up as well as from top down. Thank you very much. I will stop here and let my colleagues have more details unless there are specific questions on policy that you have right now. Ethan.
I mean, my question is just off-center of economics, so if you don't want to answer, tell me. In August, in theory, Fatah is going to hold a general Congress after 20 years. And one issue is outsiders getting in. I thought of this when you talked about facilitating foreign investment. Do you know whether the government of Israel has made a decision about letting in outside Fatah guys whom you may not be in love with to start with?
Well, we have not gotten any formal request yet. I'm sure once we get it from the PA, we will consider it in the most serious way. I would tell you just off the bat that there is no interest of Israel to block it. On the contrary, to facilitate as much as we can, of course, barring any specific security issues. But as a general rule, Israel will help. Herb.
Two-part question. First is, how are the announcements that you're making today, how is this connected to the talks that Barak is having with Mitchell in London, or he had with Mitchell in London? How is this all working to what they're trying to do? And the second thing is, you were talking about you want to see Arab investment. Number one, why don't you think that's happening? And number two, what would Israel do in order to encourage, for instance, the Saudis to invest in the West Bank?
Well, first of all, for your first question, I don't see any relations whatsoever. Actually, we have taken stock of, I would say, all the steps that have been taken, especially in the last 3 months. And since it was trickling here and there, we thought it would be very important to put it in a, I would say, in an organized fashion, in a concentrated fashion, so people will realize what is available right now, what Israel has been doing, and what is available. The second reason is also to call upon international investors to put the money in here, as we have been taking all this risk for access and movement, and we will continue with that. So this is the first question. The other one, with the Saudis, I would say outside calling and beseeching and asking, we cannot do much. I think that there is no excuse whatsoever now after this historic speech of Prime Minister Netanyahu in Bar Ilan 3 weeks ago. So we understand the political horizon, we understand the needs for everyone here, and indeed, I cannot tell you why. I mean, I can maybe make some surmises why wouldn't Gulf countries or Saudis invest, but I wouldn't want to speculate here at this time.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
One more.
Is there any understanding from Israel's point of view that Abbas has taken any measure to disarm or disband the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade or any other terrorist groups under him? Or last 3 nights on Palestinian television, they're celebrating past Fatah murders of Israelis. Any commitment? And Israel owns the frequencies of Palestinian television. So what about some proactive measures on those two?
No, we are still expecting to see a real move over there. As I mentioned, of course, we do appreciate General Dayton's work to build capacity over there. But of course, much more, a lot more, substantially a lot more can be done by the Palestinians in order to dismantle the infrastructure, that is to collect illegal arms, to disband and outlaw all the terror organizations. Nothing has been done in this area, not to mention, of course, the incitement, the curriculum and all that. These things are still standing, and we have not just demands and expectations. I mean, these are commitments that the Palestinians have taken upon themselves. Everybody talks now about Israeli obligations and commitments. Yes, we are not shying away from that, from this, but we say, don't make this commitment or wait for a 100% fulfillment. This is why we say, you have issues, we have issues, let's sit and talk. And of course, our first demand is security demand that the Palestinians have not done so. But unlike, unfortunately, the Palestinians who come and try to discomfit, who try to condemn, who try to really attack Israel in any international fora, we are not doing that because we really want to sit seriously with the Palestinians, discuss everything, and hopefully with good faith, and with really a commitment to peaceful coexistence. I wish that Abu Mazen, the government there, and Fayyad would really take seriously our government's attitude, our government's conduct, what we have already done, and also our willingness for the future as well. I think last one, okay?
According to reports of the UN NGOs, it would seem that one of the biggest hindrances to economic development and movement is the security barrier. Is Israel going to make any changes vis-a-vis the security barrier? And
well, yes. First of all, I beg to differ. I beg to differ because I have cited to you, and you will hear in further detail, concrete data which attest to the fact that there has no impact of the security fence on economic activities. And there are many, many ways actually to kind of circumvent that, and we have it here. Certainly this has not been in the way, the security fence in the way of 1.2 million tourists that came. And I can tell you 3 more can come if we will have more facilities, more hotels, and more investments over there. So that doesn't add with the facts.